Look at him. So sweet. How old is he?
2 months.
Daljinder Kaur and her husband Mahinder Singh Gill are the proud parents of a baby boy.
Who do you think he looks most like?
Papa.
Papa.
After 46 years of marriage, the 72 and 79-year-old finally have the child they've always wanted.
A lot of people used to tell me, adopt a child, but I never felt the urge to adopt or have someone else's baby.
They've named him Aman, meaning hope, and in their eyes their little son is nothing short of a miracle from God.
The Almighty only has made this possible for us. It is His gift. We haven't done anything. It is His wish, and He granted him to us. Otherwise, we wouldn't have got him.
In reality, though, baby Aman is the product of India's in vitro fertilisation industry, conceived with a donor egg, possibly donor sperm, and born by caesarean in April this year. His mother is reportedly the oldest woman in the world to give birth.
I want everything for him, that he should become a big man and bring me fame. He has already brought me fame.
But with fame has come condemnation and calls to put an age limit on IVF treatment.
72 years is not the right age to have a baby. It was shocking in the way that, yes, science can do it. Science can do a lot of things. But it is for the society to decide whether we are going to let scientists do which are things which are not in favor of the society or which are unethical, or which put the patient and that child to great harm. And that is what has happened here.
It's the Indian government who many hold responsible for allowing lives to be put at risk. It's almost 40 years since the first IVF baby was born in India. And since then, there's been an explosion in the number of IVF clinics. Yet there's still no laws governing the industry. Legislation has been pending in Parliament for the past 6 years, leaving many to suggest the industry has become too big and too powerful to regulate. The northern Indian town of Hisar isn't a place you'd expect to find cutting-edge medical technology. But this backstreet is home to the National Fertility and Test Tube Baby Centre, where Aman was created. The mastermind behind the clinic's success is Dr. Anurag Bishnoi.
Hello.
Dr. Bishnoi.
Welcome.
Very angelic. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Have a seat, please.
You're very famous in this part of the world.
So nice of you that you have come to this clinic from so far off.
The embryologist claims to have treated thousands of postmenopausal women over the age of 50 and says more than 100 of them have become pregnant.
Taking older patients was a necessity and is still a necessity because when they were middle-aged, say 40, 45, this technology was not here. So they are coming it now after hearing from so many people that yes, older women can become pregnant.
This is the uterus where the baby stays for 9 months.
Dr. Bishnoi insists his older patients have to pass rigorous health checks before beginning IVF treatment.
We don't see much of the risks as far as the middle age and the older ones are concerned. We don't see this.
Like I said,
But not everyone agrees the risks are low.
getting 72 years old pregnant is putting her life in jeopardy. We have a huge cryo-freezing room.
Dr. Malhotra is president of India's Society for Assisted Reproduction and runs his own high-tech IVF clinic.
I talked to him telephone, we met him personally once, and we told him this is not right. He says, they're coming, they're demanding, so I'm giving. So that doesn't mean if someone demands alcohol, you'll give him alcohol. Someone demands drugs, you'll give him drugs. Or someone who is doing suicide, you won't stop him. He feels he's the, he's the god or the kingmaker or the child maker, the only child maker in the world.
For a family in this village, that's precisely what he is. Baby Aman isn't the first child Dr. Bishnoi delivered to a couple in their 70s. Rajo Devo Lohan previously held the world record for the oldest first-time mother. She was 70 when she had her daughter Naveen in 2008.
What was this occasion? When was that? Your birthday? Your first birthday?
In this family portrait, taken when Naveen was just 1, she's surrounded by her many older nephews.
Sahil, Parveen, Rohit, Aarti, Manisha, Ritu, Rakhi, Sheenu, Naveen.
And so you're the auntie to all of those boys. You're a very lucky auntie, aren't you? That's amazing.
And that's not the only complicated relationship in the family. Rajo Devi married Balaram when she was 12 and he was 14. 15 years later, they had no children, so her husband took a second wife, her younger sister, Omni. But still, no children came.
When people used to tease us, I'd get angry with them. Those who were on our side would say, "It's God's wish. This is your fate and nothing can be done about it." We would just close our gate and lie low or sleep. If we had work to do, we'd do it.
Decades later, the family was still childless. But then they heard from a neighbour about Dr. Bishnoi.
All 3 of us went to the doctor. He checked us and said, "Your younger sister has high blood pressure, so I will give you the treatment."
I told her, "You try for a child. Produce a child. It's the same thing whether it's your child or mine. She'll come to our family ultimately. It's important to have a baby, be it a boy or a girl, to take the family's name forward."
So Naveen, who's now 8, was born.
When she was born, she was only 1 kilogram. Now she has grown so tall. I love her a lot. I find her very sweet.
She was sweet. I still find her good looking. She is very dear to me. She loves me a lot. She is the only one for us. Whatever is there, it's just for her. Everything is for her.
But the IVF treatment and pregnancy seems to have taken its toll on Rajo Devi's body. Today, her family doctor is giving her intravenous medication to ease stomach pain.
Earlier she was healthy and strong, but after she had a baby she turned weak. Then after a year or 2 she got cancer.
The doctor didn't tell me anything about the dangers, and I never felt that there was any danger. I just thought I have to go for this. Whatever happens, I will face it.
Since Naveen was born, Rajo Devi has had 3 operations to repair a ruptured uterus and remove cancerous tumours, as well as many rounds of chemotherapy.
I feel the treatment she underwent at this age may have caused all these problems because having a baby at this age means there is some fiddling with the hormones.
See, for the womb to grow back and the patient to start menstruating and the lining to form, you have to give a very high doses of estrogen. If you give high doses of estrogen to older women, they're more likely to have cancer. So that could have been easily happened. I also cannot say for sure that that is the reason, but that's one of the reasons, yes.
But Dr. Bishnoi insists his treatment's not to blame and claims Rajo Devi's now cancer-free.
Presently has no problem. She is fine. She's out of the problem.
In another village 3 hours' drive away, fertile farming land may have brought a level of prosperity, but nothing like the richness Dr. Bishnoi's brought to the lives of another ageing couple. Their 6-year-old twins, a boy and a girl, are having fun, and the elderly parents couldn't be more overjoyed.
Earlier, people used to tease me. What will you do? Where will you take all your wealth? I did go for a second marriage, but that didn't help. With the grace of the Almighty, now things are great. Children mean the world to us. We are very happy. It's a good thing.
My house has changed. There was darkness earlier, but now it's a happy environment. Now I spend the whole day with my children, and I'm very happy.
Batiri Devi is another of Dr. Bishnoi's famous mothers. In 2010, at the age of 66, she became the oldest woman in the world to deliver triplets. The babies were in intensive care for months.
When I saw them, I was overjoyed. I looked at their limbs and their faces to see if they were all right. They were very thin.
One of them, a little girl, didn't make it, and Batiri Devi almost lost her own life.
Once she delivered the babies, she was hospitalized. She was in a very bad condition. She was almost on her deathbed. She spoke only after 10 to 12 days.
She had a condition that caused her to hemorrhage during childbirth. But according to Dr. Bishnoi, it was of little concern.
Now that can occur in a younger female also. That is not related to the old age. It was not a cardiac failure, it was not a renal failure.
If it happens in someone who is over 55, then it is very dangerous. It is very, very dangerous then. And you know it is going to happen. Triplets would carry triple the risk. If he had detected triplets at second month, he should have gone ahead and reduced them to singleton. So to reduce a risk.
But Batiri Devi says she refused to let that happen.
Even the doctor said there was a risk to the children, 3 of them. But I told him I want all 3. It was very important for me to have a child of my own, to have a full family, even if it was at the cost of my life.
Back at Dr. Bishnoi's IVF clinic, the waiting room is packed. But not all his patients leave with good news. This older couple lost 2 sons, one as a child and the other at 21, just 2 years ago.
Everyone wants a child, so that generations go on. Sadness will prevail until we are blessed with a child.
Today they're devastated to hear the IVF cycle has failed.
The doctor said that whatever treatment we gave you didn't succeed, so try once again. Take a second chance.
I am ready, but don't have the money.
I sold a plot of land to pay for the treatment. We will take one more chance and we'll take out a bank loan for the sake of having a child.
We have a lot of stress on our shoulders that we should give results in a positive manner and our credibility should continue. So let the faith continue and we'll try to fulfill their dreams.
To fulfill the baby dreams of ageing parents, an egg from a fertile donor is essential. This 20-year-old woman is recovering after having her eggs harvested. Her husband and son are at her bedside. This is the first time she's donated eggs.
I was told that all this is not complicated, but I'm having pain here since yesterday. I didn't realize that I will also suffer pain.
Out in the cafeteria, an agent has brought 3 potential donors from Delhi. He's clearly in demand. His phone never stops ringing.
Hello? There are so many IVF centers running in or outside Delhi. Wherever they are, the demand for egg donors. Without donors, IVF centers just can't operate.
He says he has 6 other agents working for him, some of them former egg donors, who recruit up to 15 new donors a day.
There's no complications in this procedure at all, so my agent tells other ladies that we pay a handsome amount for egg donations. If someone works in a factory, they earn less than $75 a month, but we can pay $525 for the 10-day process.
But with no legal regulation of the IVF industry, egg donors may end up paying with their lives. At least 2 are known to have died in recent years. Then in 2014, 24-year-old Yuma Sherpa died in Delhi. She and her husband had left their young daughter with family at home in West Bengal and came to the Indian capital to earn money. Yuma was working at this garment shop when she was recruited as an egg donor.
She was the main earner for the family, but she did all this just for 30,000 rupees to raise money to travel home on a trip.
She was a nice, friendly, very bubbly person.
She shared not only her hopes, but also her fears with her work colleagues.
We started checking on the internet what are the side effects, what it can possibly, spoil in a woman. So when we started reading, she started getting really scared. So she finally said, I'll stop doing it. So she went to the doctor, and I think the doctor told her that she cannot back out in the middle because it's already in the process.
So in January 2014, Yuma left work early and went to the IVF clinic to have her eggs extracted. Around 6:30 that night, she called her husband, very distressed. He rushed to her bedside. He says by the time he arrived, she was unconscious and there were no doctors present.
बाद में जब मैंने उसको जगाने की कोशिश की, उसके बाद तो मुझे लगा कि नहीं, वो कुछ गलत तो हो गया इसमें. तो मैंने बहुत ज़ोर-ज़ोर से चिल्लाया. मैंने बोला डॉक्टर को बुलाओ, डॉक्टर को बुलाओ. तो उसने डॉक्टर को बुलाया. वहाँ डॉक्टर को आने में भी आधा घंटा ऐसे लग गया. I felt I check her hand and check her nose also. No, there was nothing actually. I felt she was died that time only.
It was another 3.5 hours before she was taken to hospital, where she was pronounced dead.
They should have got her there as soon as possible. You're running such an institute. You're supposed to be prepared for such an emergency. And the fact is, it's a known fact that procedures like this involve an element of risk and fatality. So when there is such a known risk, why would you not be prepared for it? That would amount to negligence on their part, I'd say.
OHSS syndrome only comes while undertaking such a procedure.
Lawyer Vikram Pradeep is acting for Yuma Sherpa's husband. He's taken on the case pro bono after being contacted by the garment shop where Yuma worked.
Our entire case talks about the likeliness of an overdosage taking place here.
Overdose of hormones.
Of the hormones which are injected into the woman. And in the end, then, they have just made the conclusion.
The autopsy showed Yuma Sherpa suffered ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome. This can occur when high doses of hormones are used to produce higher numbers of eggs and is potentially fatal.
In an average woman, if they are supposed to undergo the procedure as per guidelines, maybe 12 to 18 eggs, depending on the woman's BMI, is what is supposed to be harvested. But right now there's no law in it, there's nobody regulating them, there's no one supervising it. So what usually these clinics do is they harvest about 50 eggs. So that ends up putting the woman's life in danger.
Is that your daughter?
Yeah.
The clinic director and doctor refused to talk to us. For them it's business as usual, but for Yuma Sherpa's husband, the tragedy plays out every day.
It's too difficult actually to explain a 2-year-old child that your mother was no more. I mean, she was never come to you again. My wife, whatever is happening to her, I know that I don't want to happening to any other again.
Dr. Bishnoi's laboratory is where conception begins for his elderly patients. It's here donor eggs are fertilised and embryos are created. But the genetic makeup of embryos is not discussed.
We never tell them the details that we are not taking his sperms, we're not taking her eggs. Let these things have a curtain on them. When these curtains are raised, there are bad social impacts on both the parents as well as the child. Let these curtains remain there.
And that seems to be precisely how Rajo Devi and her husband have come to terms with Naveen's DNA.
What do people know about where the egg comes from? No one can say whose it is. Everyone knows that she is my child.
Whatever it is, it's all written by God.
God is a constant comfort for these elderly parents. With life expectancy in India at 67 for men and 71 for women, they're already living on borrowed time.
My nephew assures me that he will be around to look after her. Naveen is also very sharp. If someone challenges her, she turns back and gives them back. That this is my house. When she is so independent, she will manage herself. We don't fear. She is sensible, and rest assured God is there to look after her.
Deva Singh also hopes God will provide. His health is failing and he struggles to keep up with his 6-year-old twins. He says it's something that worries the little ones.
They say to us that you have grown old. Who will look after us? I tell them, all will be taken care by the Almighty.
He clearly loves his children, but he now thinks that no one over 55 should have IVF.
70% of the children born by aged women suffer a lot. Even if there are a lot of resources at home, parents die, then who takes care of them?
Despite nearly dying in childbirth, his wife doesn't agree.
There's no guarantee of life. Someone can die at 30 years of age, 50, 80, or even older. What's the harm? What do children have to do with age? Children will be nurtured. What's the problem? There'll be uncles and aunties in the family who can nurture the family. The family will keep running. It won't stop.
At only 2 months old, little Aman has a long way to go before he's out of nappies, let alone able to fend for himself.
He doesn't gain weight. I keep wishing he grows plump. His arms become thick so that we can get a good grip.
Looking after a newborn is exhausting at any age, but clearly for 72-year-old Daljinder Kaur, it's overwhelming.
I have been feeling very weak. I had a really tough time. At times he keeps on crying and doesn't get pacified. Then I get very nervous. I'm nurturing him alone. People have someone to help, grandmothers and all. I do everything on my own.
With no close friends or extended family, who will look after Aman when she and her husband are gone?
Oh, don't talk to me about this. I don't like this. I don't want to talk about it. I haven't talked to anyone. God is his guardian. I cannot trust anyone.
India's IVF industry may have made history delivering miracle babies to these elderly couples. But the big question is, at what cost to the mother, egg donor, and ultimately to the child?
Hi, Rabbi.